Wow, I'd like to go over denials, and here I'm talking about modification denials. If we could touch on appeals, uh, and if we could touch on notices of error, that many times we use in conjunction with the appeals. Um, we could spend 2 days on this, and I know we got a little series on very specific denials, but for this short video, this short 2 or 3 minutes or less video, which everybody says you got to do, but can you what would you what's the first thing you would say about denials, appeals, NOEs, based on all your years of experience?
Well, the first thing I would say is, what is the reason for the denial? And is that reason for denial even consistent with what the reason could be? We just worked on one, and the reasons for the denial had nothing to do with the loan itself. It was like they just pulled something out of the air and put reasons why the loan was denied, why the modification was denied. So, first of all, what is the reason for the denial? And then, does it make sense in regard to that particular loan application for that borrower? So that's where you start. That's where I would start. And then after we look at that, then if we've got time, we're going to file an appeal. But in one instance that I had, they didn't even give the borrower the right to appeal. They did not put it in there. So we have to start there to give an error notice to the servicer to address the reasons, to say these are error, and you committed an error by not giving the borrower a right to an appeal. So again, devil's in the details. What does it say? And does it apply? And then how do you work through it once you've looked at, what the stated reasons are? And if the stated reasons are wrong, you got to address them.
And I know, and when you keep saying these rights on under the loss mitigation, again, specifically the alphabet soup, what gives the people these rights to get a proper denial, to have the appeal? And again, we don't need to go into it in depth again. NCLC, the manuals are out there, the rules are very crystal clear, what they should and shouldn't do. But if you don't mind, where are these protections coming from?
Well, the protections are coming from RESPA. And when the denial happens, depending on the timing of that application, right? So I won't go into all the details of that. And that, like you said, that's in the
Right.
NCLC. But you've got to look and see, when did that application get sent in? When was that application considered complete? And is this the first time with that application for that stated reason? And has there been a change in circumstance? Maybe there was an application before. So all that detail's got to be looked at. But assuming that it's a application that's been sent in within the allotted time that's stated, and it's completed application, then under RESPA, if there's a denial and they tell you what the reasons are, then they're supposed to give you an opportunity to appeal. That's a right that is in the statute.
All right. And like you said, a lot of details in there. It takes some work to learn it, but it's definitely doable. But to be clear, it happens all the time. Another thing that attorneys I work with have been doing pretty regularly is, even on an old denial, we find an old denial, it was wrong, it was inaccurate, maybe they did the math wrong, etc. We'll go back and chat. Not that we're going to expect to get an actual modification from it, but we'll beat them up over an old denial just to get it on the record. Look, you did all your math wrong in the past as well. So
Right.
to make sure that the future application is actually done well. And like I said, it's a lot of minutia, a lot of boring math for most attorneys, but it's definitely effective when you can lay out a pattern that they're doing it wrong consistently. So
Yeah,
once, okay, so I think that's a good quick little summary on this. And as usual, get yourself a real attorney, somebody that understands the stuff, that actually has experience practicing where you practice. Like Rhonda said in an earlier video, it depends. You've got different lawyers, you got different judges. Some judges are fantastic, some judges are not so, that don't have an ear for these issues. You've got to know somebody that's excuse me, you've got to get an attorney that is in the ballpark, that is familiar with the local practices as well. I think that's just as important.
absolutely.
Yep. And the general conversation on these things without knowing your specific details. And anybody that talks to you for 5 minutes and can figure out everything they're going to do for you, that's bizarro world. It's a lot of detail in this.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Rhonda.